Welcome to the most listened to golf in the world, the Fairways of Life show, on air, online, and around the world, with the most candid interviews, unforgettable stories, taking you beyond the ropes. Here's your host, New York Times best-selling author, Matt Adams.
What is going on, folks? Ultimately, we celebrate the golf courses. We celebrate the champions. You've come with us many, many times up to BOYNE Golf. That's the Heather. Absolutely classic, iconic golf course. This is the course up at BOYNE, where, as you guys know, they have 10 golf courses up there. This is the one that started it all. It had the Epson Tour there recently. Riley Smyth came away as the champion of that. She has 2 Epson Tour wins to her credit, both of them coming this year, including the Great Lakes Championship at the Highlands presented by Johnny Walker. That was just a couple weeks back, as I mentioned. How cool is that? Look at the Johnny Walker trophy. I mean, I'd like to have one of those things. She shot a final round 66, including a bogey-free 3 under on the back 9 closing stretch. She finished on 12 under overall, 1 shot clear. She's now first in the race for the card standings, and she's, pretty much all but locked up her LPGA Tour card. University of Virginia alum. She turned pro back in 23. She's actually 4th on the Epson Tour in driving distance. She's averaging 266 yards. Weep, gents, weep. From North Carolina, joining us how cool a shot is that? Look at that. That's what it's about right there, inspiring the next generation, the next on the tee. Riley's joining us right now. Riley, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you very much for joining us today. So now that you've had a little bit of time for your most recent victory to kind of settle in, how are you feeling? How happy are you about your game and what you've accomplished?
Yeah, obviously it feels great to get another win under my belt. Feeling really good about the game halfway through the year. Still a lot of the season left to compete and try to get some more top finishes, but hopefully in a really good spot to get my LPGA card for next year.
Yeah, 8 top 10s, as noted in that graphic, which is very impressive as well. You heard me mention when I was introducing you in some of your accolades that your driving distance is massive. 266 yards on average is big. Do you see that as a primary strength, or is that something like, yeah, I hit it a long way, but my strength is X, Y, Z? How would you define it?
I think it definitely is a primary strength, that just being able on our courses and the way they're set up to have that distance definitely helps a ton. Just having wedges in pretty much all day, being able to reach the par 5s, and especially when they lengthen the par 3s a little bit, being able to have some shorter clubs in lets me attack a lot more pins, especially when they start to tuck them on the weekend.
What's your family life like? Because usually people have that kind of prodigious driving distance. It's a combination of athletics. It's also a combination many times of them chasing somebody else in the family from a competitive standpoint in order to keep up. What was it with yours?
So I have 3 older brothers, and they all played ice hockey growing up. So when they play golf, they just try and swing as hard as possible at it, and they have the hockey hips, so they can hit it super far. They may not always know where it's going, but they can really get it out there. So definitely trying to keep up with them has driven me a lot. That
makes sense. That makes perfect sense. You mentioned the hips. Didn't you have some surgery on, was it one or both hips? What was the story with that, if I may?
So I had it on both hips. I had labrum tears from impingement in both hips. And so I had surgery on the right one my junior year of high school, and the left one my senior year of high school.
And what caused that in your particular case? When you said impingement, I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So basically there's just extra bone in the socket, just from genetics.
Okay.
And so it's just, I was kind of born with it, and over time it tears, where it's actually really common, but not everyone has it appear as a labrum tear down the line. It really just depends on how active they are, and it usually shows up a little later in life for most people.
How concerned were you, now that we're on the other side of it and you're doing well and you're winning and all the rest, so now we can ask this question without freaking you out, but how concerned were you at the time going, you know, I want to be a player. I want to make this my life's path, and hips are pretty important to hitting the ball a long way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, definitely concerned. I got lucky where I had committed to UVA as a sophomore in high school, but I had to have two, you know, nerve-wracking calls for me to my college coach and be like, hey, I have to have surgery. And it's a little nerve-wracking to be like, is my spot still going to be there? But she was great with both of them, had no problem. And so that definitely gave me a little bit of confidence going into it of, okay, she believes I'm going to be okay. I have really good surgeon, really good physical therapist that I just need to put in the work. But there definitely was some doubts going into the first one.
From a silver lining perspective, is there anything positive that comes out of an experience like that where you're forced to be patient, if you will? You're forced to allow yourself to heal?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a ton that came out of it where it definitely drove my love of golf even more, because the first 6 weeks for both of them, I couldn't touch a club, basically, where I was on crutches for 4 weeks. And at about the 6-week mark, they gave me the clearance to putt. And then about 8 weeks, they gave me the clearance to chip. And so just having it so suddenly taken away definitely drove the love of it more. And just, it definitely instilled more. I already had a pretty good work ethic, but it definitely instilled more of a work ethic in me, just knowing, okay, this is what I need to do to get back to the level I want to play at.
Does having 3 older brothers make you tough?
Yes, absolutely.
How so?
I mean, we always played backyard sports growing up, and they just treated me as one of them. It wasn't, they never took it soft on me. They never took it easy. It was just, we're going to try and beat you because you're going to try and beat us. So it's just, they treated me not like their little sister. I mean, they definitely, especially in competitive environments, obviously they very much so took care of me, but in competitive environments, they did not take it easy on me at all.
When one looks at a family that has 3 boys, then a girl, it sounds to me like a mom or dad or both that said, let's have one more, maybe we'll have our girl.
No, so, I mean, obviously they did want a girl, but it was either way. I think they wanted 4 kids, and they kind of got lucky and got me.
Yeah. My wife wanted to keep trying for a girl, but we kept having boys. Even our cat's a boy, so she's just surrounded by all of them. How happy are you right now in life? I mean, it's not easy to do what you're doing. You're having success, which is great, and we obviously want it to continue, but it's not an easy grind to work your way up the rungs of the ladder to get to the top tier in golf, and even then, you have to perform every second in order to stay there. How are you handling all of that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's definitely tough. It's a grind, but fortunately, I've made a lot of really close friends out here on Epson, and so that definitely makes life a whole lot easier. Just being able to travel with them week in and week out, and just try to do, you know, fun things off the course, range sessions together, play practice rounds together, where that definitely lightens the burden, but there's always the pressure in the back of the mind of what's going to happen at the end of the year. And obviously the second win helps a ton, where I think I was definitely feeling the pressure a little bit more before that, just knowing I had a win, but a win isn't enough out here. You got to back it up. So it definitely, the second win takes a lot of pressure off.
Is confidence a blessing?
Yes. I mean, confidence is so much out here. It's if you have the confidence that you can go make cuts, you can go win tournaments, it makes showing up on the first tee every week a lot easier.
If you could go back and talk to yourself going into college as a freshman, with where you are now, having had this success that you've had and your path seems to be clear, what advice would you give to that freshman, and would it change anything?
Just basically just put your head down, put in the work, and enjoy the experience of being in college, because everything's going to work out as it should. I don't think it really would have changed much, just because I think a lot of my college experience were very fundamental to where I am today. I got sat out of the lineup a couple times when I wasn't playing well, and it definitely made me have to work harder, especially knowing that I wanted to turn pro, that okay isn't good enough. You always want to be better. Always want to push it more. So just being able to have those experience in college made coming out here and missing cuts a little bit easier because I knew how to handle it.
Andrew, go back to that photo you just had up of the team. Riley, what is this photo from?
That is from University of Michigan's event in 2021. It was our first event of the season, and they were hosting regionals that year, so we went up and played, and we finished second as a team.
Oh, so that was what you guys are all holding?
Yeah.
Okay, very, very cool. Speaking of Michigan, having the experience, I'm actually curious about your overall experience at BOYNE, because with the types and varied and accommodations and everything that you can have, what was the overall experience like even before you got to the point of winning?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I actually stayed in host housing that week, about 20 minutes from the course, so I didn't stay at the hotel, but the whole setup was great, of the facilities, the course. We had our Pro-Am party back in town, and just everything leading up to the tournament was very well run. So it definitely was setting up for a good week on the course.
So your Pro-Am party was in Petoskey?
Yes.
Okay, and what is that like for a Symetra event? What's that experience like for you? Are you getting used to making sure that you shake the hands and make friends and put the time in with the people that are underwriting?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's so important out here just because the sponsors really do make this tour a possibility. And so it's just really making sure to, go to the Pro-Am parties every week, make sure to be grateful for everyone that is putting the tournament on, and just making our dream possible out here.
You're watching video right now. Everybody has this drone video of the Heather. What was it like winning on a course that is this classic, I would dare say even iconic?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. Obviously, any course that you can win on that has a history always means a lot, because it's great to be able to etch my name into part of that history. I didn't know too much about the history of the course going in, but definitely learned a lot while I was in town.
Very, very cool. The picture of you holding a trophy and holding, it looks like another Johnny Walker trophy, or it looks like a huge book holder, whatever that is. How come you have two of them? What's that all about?
So the Johnny Walker statue is actually our tee markers for the week.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah. So the trophy, obviously, they'd made in advance, and then I ended up getting to take the Johnny Walker statue home as well.
I'd take the Johnny Walker statue first. I think that is cool as all get out. Why did Johnny Walker sponsor this? What's the connection between Johnny Walker and the event?
I actually don't know, But I mean, it's great to be able to have such a high profile name come out and sponsor one of our tournaments.
There's no doubt about that. Do you have, maybe too early to ask you this, but as you're starting this pathway as a professional golfer, have you aligned yourself with any sponsors yet? Do you have people in that regard?
I have not. You know, Titleist has been great with getting me clubs, balls, shoes, gloves. That obviously helps a ton. But definitely still working my way up. And I think I have a clothing sponsor for next year in Fairway and Green. Still, you know, kind of working on that, but they sent me some stuff for this year. So, you know, trying to get a lot of those things sorted moving forward.
Do you have an agent yet, or are you guys handling it yourself?
I do have an agent, so fortunately can kind of pass along that stuff to him and just be able to focus on the golf on the course myself.
Well, the reason I'm asking is in case somebody's listening to you and going, yeah, she's got it put together. Yeah. This is what I want here. Who would they contact?
So my agent is Kenny Banks at Benchmark Sports Management.
Okay, Kenny Banks at Benchmark Sports Management is who you should contact so that you can be a part of what Riley is doing. To that point, if I were Daddy Warbucks financial services institution, and your man, Mr. Banks, came into the office and said, hey, you know, I think I've got somebody that would be a really good fit, and I'm Daddy Warbucks, chairman, CEO Warbucks, and I'd say, all right, well, tell me about Riley. What does she represent? What would your answer be?
Yeah, I mean, I think just the love of the game and just the work ethic that I put in of just being able to represent myself really well on the course, of just being very true to who I am, and the sport that I love, and just being able to compete to the best of my ability every week, is something that I love, just being able to put my best foot forward. And I think that represents a lot of companies really well. Of every company's trying to be the best that they are. And I'm always trying to be the best that I can be out on the course and in my life in general, of just unapologetically being me.
Good. I like that theme you just said, unapologetically, because that's in keeping with where I'd like to end this. I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to ask you to unapologetically not be humble. I'm not looking. This isn't a measure of humility. This is a measure of conviction. So the question I have for you is, when you and I are talking again, 5 years from now, what will you have accomplished?
I hope I have a major championship under my belt and have solidified LPGA status and a couple wins out there.
Absolutely love it. Riley, it's been a pleasure to get to know you. It's been delightful to learn of the success that you're having. The fact that you survived 3 older brothers is noble as well and should be put on the same shelf as the Johnny Walker tee marker. But we do appreciate you taking the time, and congratulations with the success overall, particularly with the success you had at the Heather at BOYNE, because we love that place, and that's what drew us to you to talk to you about all of this, because I think it's awesome. May the success continue.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Absolute delight. No doubt about that. All right, folks, time now for Did You Know, presented by Flight Scope. Did you know that the last Ryder Cup captain to win on tour in the year in which they were the captain was one Keegan Bradley at the Travelers this past Sunday? Prior to that, anyone? Bueller? It was Arnold Palmer back in 1963. Arnold Palmer happens to have also been the last playing captain for the Ryder Cup. Now, Dom could tell us that there are some asterisks and caveats on that, because whilst being Ryder Cup captain, Davis Love III won That was back in 2015. But he won it when they had the wraparound season, remember? So he won it in 15. The Ryder Cup was in 16. Jack Nicklaus won in the season prior. If you're going to do the same criteria, regardless of whether it's wraparound or not, if you're going to look at the same criteria, I'm going to give you the same answer. He did it a couple times. The last of which was when he won the Masters in 86 and then was Ryder Cup captain after that. That one's a little bit close. I mean, far, because I don't remember. Maybe somebody could tell me. I don't remember when he got named Ryder Cup captain that year. Was he named before the Masters? Would that negate what I'm talking about? No, he still won it in the year prior. And just like Davis Love III did, Davis won it at the end of the year because it was the Wyndham. But the only ones that have won it in the year in which they will be captain were two men. Arnold Palmer in 63 and Keegan Bradley this year. Will that tethering mean anything else? Don't know. It's a conversation to be had. The conversation we will have when we come back, as I mentioned, don't forget about FlightScope, their new i4 rangefinder, flightscope.com. You can check it out. It's a caddy in your pocket. It's revolutionary technology because it hooks into weather and all the other conditions where you are, so that when it tells you, we're used to now having one, if it's non-competition, it's going to tell you slope adjustment up or down, right? What about other conditions? I mean, all conditions. Think about this for a second. Humidity. There's a huge heat wave going on right now. Right outside the doors where I am, it's 100 degrees. It was over 100 degrees in Central Park yesterday. Right? It was 107 when I was leaving the studio. And that was after I hosted Golf Central. It's just that time of year. So that's just one of the considerations, because when it comes to a golf ball, as you guys know, the warmer it gets, the farther it tends to go. That's good news. It's not always that. It can be cold. It can be a lot of other things. Wind direction, all factors into what club you should be playing. FlightScope.com for that. As to the conversations that I was starting down that road, we're going to hear some of those. This week's event, the Rocket Classic, has a pretty good field. And you're waiting for those events. We used to have them, honestly. But you're waiting for those events where you go, hey, we had a major, we had a signature event. When is the week of the event that you kind of go, yeah, it's play, it's great, we're going to love it, but it doesn't have this all-star field. The Rocket Classic has a really good field, so the question is why? The answer probably simply is because this is a year they go from 125 down to 100 with the cards. You still have to get to the 70 to get in the FedEx Cup playoffs. You still have the cutoff of the 50 to be signature guaranteed for the year that will be. There's a lot on the line. When we come back, we're going to hear from a couple discussing the same, as well as on the LPGA, also in Michigan, because we were just talking about the event that Riley won in Michigan up at BOYNE. The LPGA has their team event. 2 women teams, 72 of them. We'll tap into that conversation as well as the show carries on. Stay with us.
Head down, water down the left, bunker down the right, take the club straight back.
Wandering minds. When golfers lose their focus, they're totally... But Bridgestone can help. Introducing Mindset. The ball scientifically designed to keep you focused. First, identify your target. Next, visualize your shot path.
And then focus on the green dot and smooth one.
Play the Tour B and E12 with Mindset technology.
See what happens when we work together? Stuff like that.
FlightScope Mevo Plus is the ultimate indoor and outdoor golf launch monitor and simulator. It gives you the club and ball data you need with the accuracy you demand. Mevo Plus comes with ownership of simulated golf courses for you to play and practice at home. Mevo Plus is an essential golf partner to help you improve and understand your game better. Put more purpose in your practice. To learn more and get your Mevo Plus, shop now at flightscope.com.
Golfers today are a different breed.
Who? Me?
We see the game in a different way.
We all have our own styles.
We swing our own swing. But we have one thing in common.
We are all about the details.
Introducing the Revel line of grips from Superstroke. With 3 distinct offerings to choose from, the Revel is in the details.
Our journey began with a simple yet powerful vision to provide the world with the highest quality Virginia-type peanuts. The Hubbard Peanut Company, where quality and tradition meet to create an unforgettable experience. Visit hubspeanuts.com to explore our full range of products and place your order today.
Middle market businesses are facing unprecedented shifts, which demand tailored solutions and decisive action. RSM stands as the unwavering leader of the middle market, empowering you to take charge of change and conquer this era of transformation. RSM, experience the power of being understood.
Welcome back to the PXG Custom Studios. You have never played like this before. Log on to pxg.com and see why. Hope you guys are doing well. As you can tell, I'm still up here at NBC Sports hosting Golf Central for this week and next week. In fact, next week's going to be really busy because we've got Golf Central at the start of the week, and then from the John Deere start to end, it's pre- and post games, which are fun. And then from there, I fly over to Ireland a few days before in preparation for the Open at Royal Portrush, which we can't wait. We'll be broadcasting live from there, too, folks. So be sure to stay with us as you guys always do, which we are very thankful for. By the way, Dom, did you do a question of the day today? I can't remember the last time I asked you that. You've probably been doing questions a day every day and just get no response.
I have been doing questions of the day every day, but I have not done today's question yet. I thought we could talk about it. Because I want to do something around Keegan and the Ryder Cup, I think. But I have like 3 different ideas. I don't know if you want to discuss them or not.
If you keep them concise, I would like to go through your 3 ideas.
Well, one question, which is an obvious question, is should Keegan play on his own team? I think another question that's interesting is the Ryder Cup point system, which is something we're going to get into, does it need to be restructured? And I don't know the answer to that.
Are you saying that because everything seems to be geared right now towards the rich get richer with the way that the signature events give more FedEx Cup points? So if you're in a signature event, it's easier for you to stay ahead of the rest of the chasing pack. Almost like if you're in this week's Rocket Classic, you have to perform better to get anywhere near the points that a person that might be 10 spots farther down on the leaderboard or more would get at a signature event, something like that. I'm not saying the math is correct. I'm just giving an example.
Yes. All of that is exactly correct. Yes.
All right. That's
and I have examples and we have graphics and we can go over this now if you want or later. But
no. Well, let's save it because I want to get to this sound. But what was the third option for the question of the day?
I can't help but think about who's going to win the Ryder Cup. It's a lame question and it's early, but it's at the top of my brain because of Keegan. I just feel like there's an aura around him being involved in New England that just makes it feel like the U.S. team has an edge this year.
Well, it'd be in the Northeast because they're just outside of New England, but for Bethpage Black. It's not far. It's only across
So those are your
Long
3
Island
options.
Sound. Yeah,
like
I mean, of those 3, I would tell you the one that would interest me would be where the people fall on the question of whether Keegan should or should not be on his own team. And the reason why I'm saying that, because I talked about this yesterday. I talked about it before a trip and Jim joined us. But for whatever reason, it kind of seems like the pundit establishment in golf, the talking heads, if you will, and I'm not trying to be disparaging, I'm just saying who they are. it kind of seems like that constituency is against Keegan being a playing captain. And they all reference the same thing. It's like, there's too many logistics, there's too much to do, it's too much to ask of this individual. Meanwhile, I'm always suspect when somebody else makes a judgment of what you are or are not capable of. I mean, how do they know what contingencies that you have planned with the people that you have around you? You've put those people around you for a reason, right? And to the question of Keegan, who's 9th in the points right now, I get it. There's still time. That's another thing they always say. They kind of poo-poo it by going, please, let's not talk about what's happening right now. It's so long. It's not that long. And he's shown consistent performance.
He's 7th in the world and 9th in the standings. I was talking to Andrew prior to the show about it, and it's like if he missed every cut from here to the end, then maybe he's going to drop out. But considering the way he's playing and the fact that he just won the Travelers, he will not miss every cut from here on out. So that's just not going to happen.
But you could open up a schedule right now, and you could count how many opportunities he has to miss a cut between now and when the announcements. It's not that many. 6 or 8 events. It's really not that many. So then you'd have the conversation just like we did last time when he wasn't picked and should have been, where he had won multiple times and didn't get in, which caused us to question. I mentioned this on yesterday's show. I should have had you grab some clips from those guys. They were unbelievable.
You know what? It's probably even less. Honestly, it's probably even less events than you mentioned.
Right.
Because he's playing this week at the Rocket. I would imagine he's going to take the John Deere off and then go over to the UK early to play in the Scottish and then the Open.
Well, the Scottish is a co-sanction, so he'll definitely do that.
And then in between, because he's already going to be in the playoffs, so the Barracuda, the 3M Open, and the Wyndham Championship going into the FedEx Cup playoffs, he doesn't have to play in any of those 3. My guess is he only plays in one of them. So that's this week, the Scottish, that's 2, the Open, that's 3, and then the Barracuda, the 3M, and the Wyndham, pick one of those, that's 4, and then you have 3 playoff events, that's 7, and then you're at the Ryder Cup. And that might be generous. He might not even play in 7. It might be 6.
That's why I said 6 or 8. It might be less than that, and then someone could say, well, wait a minute, the playoffs aren't going to have the same structure as a regular event, et cetera. So all I'm saying is if we're not talking about Keegan Bradley, call it player XYZ, and they've had the level of performance that he's had this year, and he's won this year, and in almost July, in late June at the very least, he's 9th on the standings. And what'd you tell me? 7th in the world or 8th currently?
7th in the world.
7th
right
in
now.
the world currently. If it was player XYZ, we'd all be looking at that list going, oh, yeah, that guy. And it's not because he's captain that I'm saying this. It's because he's a player that can help Team USA. And the fact that he is captain doesn't mean that he becomes part of the establishment of the mentality behind the United States Ryder Cup team. Isn't that part of what his naming was about doing something radically different? Didn't Keegan himself tell us that he always felt like an outsider? Right? He didn't have that seat at the popular table. So I don't think he didn't get a spot last time because of performance. His performance was there and better than some who were picked for the team. No, it's because he wasn't good buddies with the right guy. For better or for worse, that was part of the criteria because they wanted to match up players and skills. And don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here saying that is something that should be thrown out with the wash. That's a choice that a captain makes, and they have that right to make that when they go down the road. But I am talking about Keegan and why he's there. It tells me that the PGA of America, who administers the American side of the Ryder Cup, said, folks, we need to change things up here. We need to do something different. We need to find a way to break out of whatever the mindset is that's kept us where we are. We need someone that's going to, and I said this the other day too, so forgive me, I mentioned that just so I'm not terribly redundant in your mind. But you need the person that the other players to run through a wall for. Well, in Keegan's case, he's running through that wall with you. So, I don't know.
mean, statistically, it's even backed up, Matt. I mean, he's top 30 on tour. Again, if you're talking about what you were saying, just player A, right? He's top 30 on tour in strokes gained total, strokes gained tee to green, strokes gained off the tee, strokes gained approach to green, and strokes gained around the green. Literally, he's top 30 in all of these. I mean, he's third on tour in tee to green.
His finish at
he's
the Travelers,
very good golf.
His finish at the Travelers should be enough right there. Like if we were talking about, where's Billy? Where's Billy Horschel on the
There is a lot of time between now and September, but you know,
that's what I keep being told, and I'm not buying that. But where's Billy Horschel?
Yeah, but to Andrew's point before the show, Matt, the 6 events we just talked about, let's just say it's those 6. If he misses the cut in all 6, he will drop outside the top 12 on that list. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I also think that's incredibly unlikely.
It depends on what the other guys are doing. I could see Maverick holding on. I would love to see Andrew Novak bump up there if his rib is okay, and he played pretty well with the rib injury. Frankly, I don't care if Patrick Cantlay is on the team. I'd like to see Daniel Berger rise up in the rankings.
Yeah, but didn't Keegan mention that he wants more experience? Like he weighs experience over less experience?
Yes, of course.
Well, who would be a rookie from this list? Ben Griffin, J.J. Spahn, right? Right now? Those are rookies. Those would be rookies.
Yeah.
On the Ryder Cup team. And then Maverick McNeely if he was picked. Yeah, although I'm not sure Russell Henley has played in a Ryder Cup.
Are you talking Ryder Cup or President's Cup? Is that why you're...
No, I'm talking only exclusively about Ryder Cup. Because Keegan mentioned the rookie comment. Not rookie, but less experience.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this list and I'm wondering...
Let's go on the other side.
Does that mean he doesn't want to take a chance with someone who's younger like an Andrew
How many
Novak?
rookies did Europe have in Rome? If memory serves me, they had like 5, didn't they?
I can confirm that, but yes, I think it was a lot. It was.
But again, I'm not going to argue with a captain's philosophy. Win their captain because they can do what they want to do. That's the prerogative that goes with it. But all I'm saying is, I can't see Keegan going out of the focus regardless because you're still talking about a player that won this year. Now here's a question I was asking and I haven't got an answer yet. Where is Billy Horschel on the points list?
They had 4 rookies. They had 4 rookies.
Okay, fair enough.
You're asking for who? Horschel?
Yeah.
Horschel's 26th.
All right, Horschel's 26. If Billy had finished at the Travelers, what do they call it, the videos when you put somebody else's face on a deep fake or whatever? If somebody deep faked that it was Billy Horschel instead of Keegan Bradley that finished the way he finished at the Travelers, how many people on social media, and probably the same pundits that are saying that Keegan shouldn't be a playing captain, would be saying, this is why we need Billy Horschel on that wall? Look at the way he finished. He's down 3 on the 15th green, and he ends up winning. Did he need help at the top of the leaderboard? Yeah, he needed help at the top of the leaderboard, but that's what it's about because it essentially came down to, from that point on, this was match point. You were 2 down. 3 strokes, but eventually 2 down. Wins 16, halves 17, wins 18. Right? So that's what I'm talking about.
That brings up the points situation that's sort of maybe impacting this. Andrew, put that graphic up.
We can go down this road. We've started, so let's keep rolling.
So, yeah, no, the other one, Andrew. Yes, that one. Sorry. So, look at this. This is what we were talking about just a little while ago, Matt, about how the point system is a little bit wonky. You've got player A, player B, player A, player B. You can see right there, if you're watching, the difference there. You got 32nd in the standings versus 22nd in the standings, and the corresponding how they're playing. A win, no wins, a good finish at a major, a bad finish at a major, and equal number of top 25s, but one is 10 spots lower. I don't know if that's good, Matt. I'm concerned about that. I'm not sure that system is correct.
So just so I understand what graphic you put up here, these are actual people that you're showing us.
Correct.
And you're saying
yes.
Player A is 32nd in standings, yet Player A has a win this year. They just had a top 8 at the PGA, and they've had 5 top 25s. Versus Player B, who I have to presume is a player that's through prior year performances grandfathered into signature events, is 22nd in the standings, has no wins, was tied for 46th at the Masters, and has 5 top 25s. Player, when you say 22nd standings, we're talking about Ryder Cup points standings, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you're trying to illustrate that because of the way that the FedEx Cup points, or no, it wouldn't be FedEx Cup in this case. It'd be
it's
what
money.
they get paid.
It's money. Andrew, can you put the explainer for the point system? I know this is semi-complicated, but I think it impacts all of this. That's why we keep ending up with the same people on the team.
All right.
And
Let me just
losing.
read this graphic for those that might be listening on the radio side. US Ryder Cup point system. All US players will have the opportunity to earn points beginning in 2024 and concluding in 25 prior to the Tour Championship. The exact date pending final 2025 PGA Tour schedule. Obviously, this was written before that. 2024, 1 point per $1,000 earned for all players making the cut at the Players, the 4 major championships being the Masters, the PGA Championship, US Open, and the Open. 2025. The point system, counting events and values, will be determined, it says, at a later date once the 25 PGA Tour schedule has been finalized. Okay. So Ryder Cup Team USA qualifying criteria. 6 players qualify in points and 6 captains picks. Of the 2024 majors, I told you about 1 point for $1,000. 2024 players, 1 point for $1,000. You have to make the cut, obviously, or else you wouldn't get paid. 2025 regular PGA Tour events, 1 point per $1,000 for all players. Those are regular PGA Tour events. 2025 major championships, 1.5 points per $1,000. So the majors in the year of the Ryder Cup are 50% points bonus against the money that you earn for every $1,000. No points for the 2025 opposite field events in the PGA Tour. Points end after the BMW Championship. That's the second event in the FedEx Cup playoffs. Keegan Bradley picks following the Tour Championship. Points ranking does not guarantee qualification for the Ryder Cup. Players must separately meet all eligibility requirements. That little caveat there is for politics.
I know there's a lot of complexity there, but to boil that down into a sentence, the issue that I think may exist from this is that for the signature events, the dollar amount is so much higher than a, quote, regular PGA Tour event that you get so many Ryder Cup points for finishing 19th in the Travelers, and you don't get that many points for finishing 3rd in the John Deere Classic. So the weight is, I think, really a huge disparity.
All right, so go back to
I'm
that
not
graphic
saying
with
that's
player
right
A,
or wrong.
player B.
I'm asking, is that right or wrong? Does that need to be adjusted?
Well, this comes down to, again, Andrew, go back to player A and B graphic, please. That goes back to what I would say all the time with the question of the day and why we ask people their opinion. Because the way it's structured right now, and look, you can't say that the Travelers wasn't an incredible, wild success. It's a signature event, right? Trip Eisenhower was on with us yesterday, has consistently said to me he doesn't like the no-cut events. So instead of having 80 players in the field, you don't have to go to a full field, 156, but how about at least 100? How about 120? Right? So you have this opportunity for kind of a lightning in a bottle. Why have that much disparity between one versus the other? Well, the reason why they're doing it, in my view, is so that they can go to media partners, so that they can go to sponsors and go, look, I'm going to give you your stars because it's pretty much a field of stars. right? And that's the direction that the tour is going. And so is there anybody out there clamoring for the guy who's 70th in points right now? I'm talking about keeping your card because they have to be 100 or less. Let's go to a guy who's 85. Dom, look that up for me if you would. Give me names of guys between 80 and 90 that are in there right now, but they're kind of getting close to the bubble.
80 and 90 what? In the FedEx Cup or in the Ryder Cup?
Yeah, it'd be FedEx Cup points. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you have to get inside the top 100. And you can even go up to like 110. Just throw a few names at me. What I'm trying to get at is the way that the system is structured now is to keep the stars there, which means it's kind of a reflection of life from that standpoint, where once you have it, it's easier to keep it than you trying to grind up there and get it. But in this case, it's impacting potentially the Ryder Cup. Because what Dom is talking about, Andrew, I'm going to have you bring that graphic up again, player A or player B. And Dom, while I know you're looking up something else, but you know who player A and B are, go ahead and tell us who these players, if that was your intention. Tell us who player A and B is.
It wasn't necessarily the intention. I'm just trying to show the disparity. I think if I showed the names, there would be sort of a pre-existing notion that I didn't want anybody to have.
No, I know you're not trying to be biased, but these are real human beings, so I'm asking you who they are. Give me, on the column left, player A and player B, who are
Player A in the top left is Joe Highsmith.
Okay.
Player B in the bottom left is Wyndham Clark. Player A in the top right is Andrew Novak.
Yeah, baby.
He's 13th in the standings. Player B in the bottom right is Colin Morikawa. And that goes along with what you were saying, Matt, about sort of the rich get richer and the big names that we're used to hearing from just sort of find themselves at the top of the standings seemingly no matter what they do. And a player like Andrew Novak, who you can see right there, player A in the top right, a win, a second place, 8 top 25s, 4 top 10s. He is, by all statistical accounts, playing better than Colin Morikawa. But he is much further down in the standings. Literally, he's outside of even of a captain's pick territory right now.
No, this is an excellent
point. I'm not trying to say this is right or wrong. I'm bringing this to your attention and saying, do we have an issue here?
Well, it comes down to another thing that we've discussed, and I'm not talking about us in this show, but at large, the discussion being, do you want to have a team that has this inherent, whether it's systematic or whether it's by application? Do you want to have a team that's basically an old boys network where you have the same players who are at times, whether it be right now with Colin Morikawa, he's seventh in the standing, he has no wins, he does it 2 second-place finishes to his credit, 9 top 25s, whereas Andrew Novak has a win and a second. He has 8 top 25s against 9 for Colin, but he has 4 top 10s against 3 for Colin. And like Dom said, in each particular category, save top 25s, he's in a better position. But he's almost twice as far down the points list. And whether it's Colin Morikawa or not.
Can I just give you an example really quick to get a little bit more specific to talk about what I'm talking about? At the John Deere Classic, if you finish in 4th place, you get $390,000 for 4th place. At the Travelers Championship, you get $960,000 for finishing in 4th place. That's almost triple points when you're talking about converting that by $1,000 to points for the Ryder Cup. So finishing 4th place in 2 different events, it's triple the points for that player at the Travelers Championship. Now, I'm not saying that, obviously a signature event is, by all accounts, a little bit more important. The field is a little bit stronger. The purse is bigger. All of those things are a reality. They're an elevated event, quote unquote. But triple points seems like a lot, Matt. That seems like a lot.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the pragmatic effect of that is you're going to get the same group of players again. And I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody individually, but do you want fresh blood? Or is it otherwise the establishment? And all I'm saying is,
you want to hear who's 90 to 110 on this list?
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. Yes, just pick out a few.
These are the players on the FedEx Cup standings between like 90 and 110, and the cutoff again to Matt's point this year is 100. So I'm just going to barrel through names: Max McGreevy, Lee Hodges, Chris Gotterup, Andrew Putnam, Victor Perez, Henrik Norlander, Mark Hubbard, Austin Eckroat, Sam Ryder, Zach Johnson, Justin Lower, Kevin Roy, Chris Kirk, Emiliano Grillo, Chan Kim, Brant Snedeker, Vince Whaley, Adam Schenk, Ricky Castillo, Ricky Hoey, Jeremy Paul, Michael Thor Bjornsson.
Right. Now, the reason why I had you look up those is to have people search your hearts here for a second. When you're talking about a signature event that by its very nature is structured for the stars of the game, and it's structured for those reasons that I gave you, and the ratings are great, and people are interested in all the rest, right? Because the ratings were up 35% for Keegan's win on the prior year. It connected with people big time. 35% is a huge rating spike. So, okay, do you look at that and go, look, I get it, but the PGA Tour is not a social program. If you want to be viewed as one of the stars, make more putts, and you'll be amongst their ranks. Or do you look at it and go, you know what, you're robbing us of the choice, of the chance to see a lightning in a bottle player. They're still tour players, so how much is it really? But you're robbing us of the chance to see that player that we didn't expect to do as well as they have. So what's the voting coming back right now, Dom?
71% of you are saying that Keegan Bradley should play on his own team. 29% are saying it's a stupid idea. You're all a bunch of idiots. That's what they're saying.
So how did you phrase it?
I'm
just curious if you really said, should he do it, or is it a
Bradley
stupid
play on his own Ryder Cup team?
Okay. Yes or no?
You don't like the phrasing of my question?
I'm
Yeah,
asking
yes or
it
no.
what it
Of course
was.
yes or
Yeah, I
no.
want to see, because sometimes you phrase it in a biased way.
The hell? How could I?
It'd be
how
like,
could I phrase
do you
that in
think
a
that Keegan
biased
Bradley
way?
should be on his team in order for the U.S. team to win? Or B, do you think he shouldn't be on his team and guaranteeing they lose?
So, final thought. Again, I don't have an opinion. I just think it's interesting with this divide. In your opinion, is this an issue? Does this need to be addressed, or this is just what it is and it's fine?
No, I guess what I'm struggling with is, and this is probably a lot bigger than just golf, but how and why do people, the pundits, I guess, to put it that way, where do they come up with this group consensus from? That apparently with pointed fingers, we're all supposed to adopt because it was handed down from on high, that this is somehow a bad idea. Why? Because I haven't heard a really strong argument yet. I've heard people say, well, 2025 isn't 1963. Okay. He's also got a cadre of vice captains to help along the way. You've got an organization behind it. If something is too burdensome in terms of time or occupation, have one of your other people do it. Hand off a lot of it. Hand off nearly all of it. Someone said the other day, well,
what about the point system? Where do you stand on that?
It comes down to the bigger question of signature events. I don't like that signature events don't have a cut. I think the signature event should be broader and open. I think that to limit a signature event because you want to ensure that the stars are hanging around, the stars will always be towards the top of the leaderboard. They may not be the stars that you want, but the big names are big names because of their performance. Save for a few that get every sponsor's exemption, like Ricky, who's not playing that well, but he's very popular. But I thought this wasn't about just popularity. So, yes, they need to figure that out. There needs to be a better balance between those two. But But then you need to have a reason that a signature event is a signature event. If you make the other events the same as a signature event or close, it doesn't hold that same distinction for aspiration. So it's not an easy answer. But as far as the signature events go, I can tell you I agree with Tripp. I don't like that they're non-cut. I don't think that's keeping in the spirit of how the PGA Tour structured their events, not the least of which was that's the very thing that they complained about, one of the very things they complained about with LIV, scoffing that it's a no-cut event. Your signature events are no-cut events.
Well, I think it all comes down to TV, Matt. They're trying to maximize eyeballs on the end product for golf.
And can you argue with it when they're up by 35% this past weekend?
No, but I think that as a sport, we are overestimating our superstars. I think to the general sports public, the list of superstars is on one hand. And the ratings will spike when one of those 5 does something spectacular. Rory
or will the ratings spike because it is a compelling story?
No, I don't agree with that. I don't think that that's true. I think if you have 2 people that are 85th and 97th in the standings battling down the stretch of a tournament, I don't think that's not going to get eyeballs.
That's why I asked you those names.
It's got to be one of the 5 people.
So if you picked one of those 2 people of the list that you gave me, it still wouldn't cause a 35% spike, even if they're trading, haymakers down the stretch.
Wait, you lost me. Say that again. You're saying if one of the 2 people is the 5 people?
No, the 80 to 100 list or whatever you picked from. If you picked 2 of those guys and replaced Tommy Fleetwood and Keegan Bradley this past weekend, everything else remains the exact same, the performance, all the rest. Would we still get a spike in viewership?
This is a terrible answer, but the answer is no, we wouldn't. That's the real answer.
Let's do a Golf in 60. Golf in 60 is presented by Superstroke. Let's take a look at how and when and where you can get your golf coming up in the coming days. Let's start with the Rocket Classic. Starts Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Golf Channel. Same time, same bat channel on Friday. Saturday and Sunday, 1 to 3 on Golf Channel, 3 to 6 on CBS. The LPGA. Oh, we still got Rocket Classic on ESPN Plus. Thursday and Friday starts at 6:45 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m. respectively. Then PGA Tour Radio, which you can hear in the PGA Tour app. You can hear on PGAtour.com for free, or if you subscribe to National Satellite Service, Sirius XM, Thursday and Friday at noon, Saturday and Sunday at 1 p.m. Now on to the LPGA. Team competition coming up this week. The Dow Championship, Thursday and Friday at 11 a.m. on Golf Channel. Saturday and Sunday it will start at 3 p.m. those 2 days. Live Golf is in Dallas, Friday at noon on Fox, Saturday at 1 p.m. on Fox and Fox Sports 2, Sunday at 1 p.m. on FS2. Golf in 60 is presented by Superstroke. Superstroke's new Revel grips are a nod to absolutely legendary and iconic technology and design combined with Superstroke's revolutionary performance and comfort innovations. There's never been grips like the new Revel grips from Superstroke. They are redefining the grip game in golf. Check them out today at superstrokeusa.com. When we come back, we'll get to the sound that I've been promising you right after this.
In Ireland, golf is more than just a game.
It's a shit answer, but it's the
Come
real
and
answer, man.
experience our world-famous links courses and our world-famous Parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery. And visit our world-famous historic sites. And while you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct-to-consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
Golf season is back, baby. Play the best rounds of your life with PXG.
I feel like dancing. I feel like dancing.
Visit pxg.com to see what we can do for your game.
I'm feeling groovy, so groovy.
PXG, you've never played like this before.
Golfers today are a different breed.
Who? Me?
We see the game in a different way.
We all have our own styles.
We swing our own swing. But we have one thing in common.
We are all about the details.
Introducing the Revel line of grips from Superstroke. With 3 distinct offerings to choose from, the Revel is in the details.
What would your ultimate golf experience be like? Just you and a friend? Or would you round up some buddies for a foursome? Just one day? Or an entire week? There's a good chance your ultimate golf experience could be Michigan's magnificent 10. 10 incredible courses set among 3 remarkable resorts. See for yourself. Book your ultimate golf experience today.
Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams. You know, Hub's Peanuts has been cooking up the top 1% of peanuts for over 70 years. And these aren't your average nut. These are super extra large Virginia peanuts cooked in the USA. Family-owned Hub's Peanuts have more protein than any other nuts. So whether it's a boost on the course or a special gift, the variety of flavors guarantees Hub's Peanuts is just what you need. Family-owned, nutritious, delicious, and sustainable. Hub's Peanuts, it's just right. HubsPeanuts.com.
When you choose Newton shafts, you're choosing more than a product. You're choosing innovation, pride, and excellence right here in America. We pay attention to the minutest of details, and you can feel that in the performance of our shafts.
Welcome back. We've been talking to you. This conversation delved into trying to understand college football and this whole idea of haves and have-nots. But if I don't go to sound, I'm not going to get to it before we have to wrap up here today. Cam Davis is a defending champion at the Rocket Classic. In fact, he's won the event a couple of times. He was asked to sum up his season. He's not having a great season. Where is he? Where's Cam Davis on your list, Tom?
I got to look it up. I'll get an answer for you on the other side.
All right. Cam Davis is being researched right now by Dominic, who's come out in the commercial break as a strong supporter saying, I am 100% for the big names.
54th.
That's all I care about.
No, that's not what I said.
I can speak for
you.
you.
It's a gross misrepresentation of what I said.
That was the way I understood what you said.
I bet it is.
You implied that anybody, even top 80 is a huge stretch for you, but anybody outside the top 80, who cares?
Listen to me. All I'm implying is the sport has to decide, does it care about money and ratings or does it care about the purity of the sport? They've selected money and ratings. That could be the right answer. I'm just saying that's what they've done.
Well, you've already indicated that you feel that it is. But here's
you can't have
Cam
both.
Davis talking about his season so far, which has not been up to the standard that he wants.
Season got off to, I think, the best start I've ever had on the PGA Tour. I've been out here for a while now, but I played some really good golf for the first month and a half, and then I would say since then it's been pretty rough going. I haven't really seen myself play much good golf as of late. The PGA Championship was a nice little change. I had a couple of good solid rounds there, but for the most part, yeah, it's been a little bit of searching, trying to get some magic back, but it's very cool. A place like this to bring back some good memories and good vibes. I've played this place really well before, and I know a game plan that has worked multiple times now. So if there's any way that I'm going to draw some confidence just by being in a physical location, it's this place. Defending a tournament is a very cool experience. she wanted to be a part of that. She knows this place has become quite special to me. So she does come to tournaments, but it's not a regular occurrence. But to have her out and see this place, especially before the course gets renovated, to be able to see it as it has been for the first 2 wins of my career is very special. So should be a very fun week. It's about putting pieces together. I mean, at the start of the year, I felt like golf seemed a lot easier. I was in contention quite regularly at the beginning of the season. I used the off season extremely well and did some really good practice and came out the other side. I've just played so much golf and just haven't quite had enough days or enough weeks where I've put all the pieces together. One week might be okay putting, but not good driving, and vice versa, like things like that. And it's just been kind of frustrating having everything feel pretty good, but see no results from it. So in that regard, it's been a little bit of banging my head against the wall over and over again, waiting for something to change. But, I think sometimes just a change in location, a change in scenery can be something that just you can draw a lot of inspiration from. And I think just having so many good memories around this place, every spot I walk around it, will only help with that.
All right, so Cam Davis is 54th. Dom told me as Cam was chatting away there. So even though Dom wants to throw him in the scrap heap of modern golf, he's only 4 away from getting to that coveted number of 50, which if you can hold on to, then you're in signature.
I'm a nice guy.
You're hard. You're hard.
And
That's
a good
Just
and a good person.
Unyielding. So the next sound I want you to hear is, and I'm not expecting you necessarily to definitively know this person yet, but his name is Michael Assasso, and he plays at Ole Miss. He's the NCAA individual champion. So I was covering the pre- and post-game shows, all those shows through the women's and men's NCAA championships in those 2 consecutive weeks here at NBC Sports for Golf Channel. And I really liked Michael's vibe. He's got this crazy powerful swing. I was calling him Michael LaQuads because he had these like really tight shorts on and these huge. He looked like a rugby player. He looked like a guy playing rugby. And so, but his vibe is like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like, frat guy meets golf, athlete, but he just seems to be, his enthusiasm and just his sense of joy was infectious. I can't remember when it was. Ole Miss was playing. It could have been quarters, could have been semis. I don't remember, honestly, sorry. And he was out there cheering, and he didn't have any golf shoes on. He had socks. And I thought that was it was just classic looking to me that someone would be that comfortable in their own skin that he's out there just living in the moment and having fun. Well, he's playing this week in the Rocket Classic. He also played in the US Open, so part of his comments were talking about that experience and talking about Oakmont and all the rest. But we start here by going, this is his first PGA Tour event. So what do you think?
Yeah, first PGA Tour event. It's pretty special coming to Detroit. I've known about this one for a while. I've had it circled on my calendar. So being here, having the ability to be out here and all the support I've got, it's pretty unbelievable. So yeah, I've been very busy. We were kind of joking about how many flights I've been on. It's kind of something that I've not been recently exposed to, but hopefully I can in the future. But yeah, I feel like I've been on the road consistently, but it's been great. It's something that I'm fortunate to be a part of, and my head's kind of still spinning from everything. Kind of haven't really gone back home yet for a good stretch of time. So definitely after this little stretch is up, go back home, decompress a little bit, and be ready to do it again. So golf is hard. That was a good thing. But just kind of being a part of history, like Oakmont is like the coolest place ever. I went up there with a couple of buddy of my agent, and we played it with Wyndham Clark the Monday, the week before. And so kind of just being there kind of before everything was set up, kind of just being able to see Oakmont, and it was more of like a low-key environment, and like actually seeing the history of everything and kind of how the golf course was laid out it was unbelievable. That whole week, it was kind of like a blur, it was just felt like a dream. So I still kind of have goosebumps going to bed at night, realizing that I'm playing here this week. But you know, it's kind of come pretty quickly at me. So just kind of being able to look around and actually enjoy where I am, and you know, kind of just being grateful for the experience.
See what I was talking about with Michael? He's instantly likable. I did think it was interesting for those of you that might have been a slight shock to the system, but you're probably all otherwise already aware of this, where he talked about my agent, right? He's a college kid. Well, everything's changed now. NIL, it's changed. It's different. You know, you saw he was wearing a hat. It said Rocket on it. I don't know if he's associated with them or not, but it's just different. This is the world that we're in right now. But I just like the kid's vibe. And the history part, he was talking about playing at Oakmont and the history, the significance of that. But when you think about an NCAA individual champion, yeah, you're talking about the likes of Jack Nicklaus, Hale Irwin, Ben Crenshaw, who did it 3 times. Phil Mickelson, I believe, did it 3 times. Tiger Woods won. That's pretty good company to keep wherever your golf path ultimately takes you. And as far as I know, he's still planning on continuing and staying on his path and going back to school again. So very cool, and a very cool story. I thought you guys would enjoy hearing from him and kind of, you know, getting to know a young player who could very well end up being significant in the game of golf, because what he did in winning the NCAA individual championship, I think, deserves and merits that kind of recognition. All right, as I mentioned to you, the Dow Championship, it is a team competition, 2 women teams, 72 of them. Lydia Ko and Danielle Kang are playing together. Let's hear from them in advance.
It's just another day I get to hang out with Lydia. I sometimes see everyone's asking, hey, you know, don't you guys play practice rounds together? Don't you do this? Like, what evens or odds? I'm like, honestly, she's Lydia Ko. She doesn't need to play even or odds. She can play whatever she wants. We could talk about whichever ball. So that's the fun of it all.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's just a lot of trust. It's, you know, it's not our first rodeo. It's not like, oh, what's your favorite color? You know, we don't have to do all the basic questions. And yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of partners that played together, but, you know, I think we've done a lot of that. And I think because we can almost just stick to our own schedules and just focus on us and just try and be the most prepared ourselves, I think that's the best we can do in that point, because I think our chemistry, the years have kind of sorted that part out. And that's why I think, you know, in team kind of formats, it's just great playing with a person that you just genuinely enjoy being around. Because, I mean, if you're out there for 5 hours and you don't really know this person, or you're uncomfortable, or you're worried, like, this person's going to be mad if you hit a good shot. Yeah, I want to hit a good shot for us and for Anya, but I think it's much greater than that. So I think it's just so easy, like she said, and it was honestly so much fun last year. And even though we've known each other since I was like 15, it's crazy because I felt like we got even closer through that week. And you know, I'm excited to spend this week together.
Cried.
Yeah, we literally had tears in our eyes and
making a cut. We cried because it wasn't that we were so happy we made the cut. We cried because we didn't want the week to end. Yeah. Both of us haven't felt like that about golf in so long. I can't speak for you, but it was just like, oh my gosh, we get to play 2 more days with each other. Yeah. So that was just so cool.
Very different personalities when you think about that 2-woman team. But I'm looking forward to the competition taking place this week. US Senior Open for the men as well. That'll be fun to take that in. So lots going on and very much looking forward to consuming it. I will be up here at NBC Sports for the next couple weeks, this week and all the next week and into the next from there. So we will continue to broadcast and share everything going on in the world of golf with you, and thank you for sharing part of your day with us. Until we are together again, folks, be well and goodbye for now.